my test kitchen. I'm Debbie, and today I'm going to be making some cranberry nut oat granola bar cookies. I typically make granola bars, and every time I make them I change the recipe, but this time I think I'm going to use a bunch of things that I've done in the past and try to incorporate everything into one perfect granola cookie. It's not actually going to be a cookie because we're not going to put flour in it. But I want to make them compact because I'm going to be shipping those off to my uncle in California. So I've preheated my oven to 350 and I'm going to just roast some nuts. I've got some whole almonds. There's a bunch of those on there. Going to lay them out. Throw on some pecans, however you want to say it. Not too many of those. Those have a strong flavor. And let's see, 2 walnuts. These are going to be super nutty and super good. I'm just going to be super, all around super. There's a few more almonds in there. I really like to bring out the almond flavor. I like almonds. I hope Uncle Billy likes them too. I think he does. Okay. Now I'm going to put these in the oven, and I'm just going to heat them up until they're until I get the nice nutty fragrance in the air, and that should probably be long enough for them to be in there. I like to toast them only because it gives them a whole new flavor and a whole new texture. It makes them a little more crispy, a little more crunchy. I'm going to put them on the top rack. And I'm going to set the timer just to be safe. But I'm thinking maybe 10 minutes. Don't want to forget about them. Okay, while those are in there, I'm going to mix up some oats. And I'm actually going to break some down with my electric chopper so that they have more of a flour-like consistency. And that will help bind everything together a little bit better. And like I said in the past, I don't usually measure things, but I'm going to do like about a cup, just so that if you guys want to make this stuff, you can. I'm going to put a cup in my electric chopper. Probably going to need more than that, because it doesn't look like too much. And I'm going to give this a spin. Block your ears. As I go along, I might need to change that up a little bit and add a little more of this part of it. So I'm going to drop the ground up oats in there, and then I'm going to add another cup of oats, and that will give us some more texture. Texture. It's all about texture. And put the oats in there. We're also going to be using honey, fresh cranberries, some shredded unsweetened coconut, some egg whites. The egg whites are going to really help bind this all together, I think. I've never used, I've used egg whites one time when I made granola bars. I just think this is going to be a little bit easier way to do it in the muffin pan and make little cookie-shaped things. Now I'm going to take some honey. I don't really know how much honey we're going to need, but I'm going to measure out about a 1/4 cup. We might need more than that. Let's see what we have here. About a 1/4 cup of honey. what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat it up a little bit. That'll give it a little more stretch. It'll make it easier to mix into the other ingredients. So I'm going to put that in for about 10 seconds and see if, oops, don't want to do 10 minutes, 1 minute. And see if that makes it nice and loose. It needs to be loose so that it can spread out and cover everything and coat everything really nicely. Let's see what that looks like. Nope, a little bit more. I did 11 because I didn't want to go 1-0. I just want to do 1-1. Whatever shortcuts you can take. Oh, I can smell the nuts already. They smell great. Nice. Okay. And see how this is a little more liquid to it? Just going to mix it up a little bit. I might just pop it in for another few seconds. Now I'm not using any fat or oil in this recipe. I've used oil in the past, but I don't really think we need it. We'll find out in the end if it doesn't taste great. No, they should be good. Okay. We've got, see, that's nice and liquid. Nice and liquid. That'll help it expand and stretch and spread all over everything else. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pour this in while this is mixing. That's going to give us a nice little flavor. It's going to give us the sweetness without it being too sweet. And it's going to make everybody happy. I'm also going to add some almond extract. I have to get that. Forgot about the almond extract. Okay, we're going to add in some almond extract. I would say probably a couple teaspoons. I can smell the honey. I can smell the almond. That smells wonderful. Let me just see. I've got a few more minutes left on the nuts. When the nuts come out, they're going to cool just for a few minutes. I'm going to pop them in here and give them a quick chop. And then I'm going to add those in. Now I've got some cranberries that have been washed or rinsed and dried. I've got my egg whites. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand chop the cranberries with my little hand chopper. I don't want to use the electric chopper because that'll just make a mushy mess. So we've got this mixing. That's looking nice and moist. I'm going to add in half of the egg whites. We might not need to use the full half cup. I'm going to add in about half of that. Let that mix a little bit. Meanwhile, I'm going to check on the nuts, see how they're doing. Those are looking really nice. I'm going to add the coconut. I would say maybe a quarter cup of coconut. I'm not really sure how much to put in, but it's going to give it a nice little extra texture to the that looks about good. You can use your own judgment. Ooh, I just thought of something I can also add in there. I'm going to add some bittersweet chocolate chips. Those are good. And the bittersweet is right up there with the dark chocolate. This is 60%. 60% cacao, so this stuff is good for you. These are a healthy little treat. They are high in calories, but it's all good stuff that's good for you. You've got your protein in the nuts, you've got protein in the oats, you've got fiber in the oats, you've got protein in the egg, you've got your fruit, your cranberry fruit, and not really sure what coconut does for you, but it tastes good. And you get the antioxidants in the chocolate chips. Who could ask for more? That's a well-rounded snack if you ask me. Okay, we've got this stuff all out of the way here. Now I'm going to give the nuts a quick chop. Just a really quick chop. They're still warm, but it's okay. Woo! A little too hot. I'm just going to add a touch of sea salt as well, because everybody likes a little salt with their nuts. And I think I'm just going to mix that right in with the nuts. A couple of grinds of sea salt. Get a little extra kick. A little extra kick of flavor. We don't want to chop them up too much, but we don't really want big giant pieces in there either. This is just going to be like a whole big party of flavor when this is done. I think we need to go a little bit more. Ugh, the aroma of the nuts. It's incredible. I hope you get to make these because I have a feeling that they're going to be totally awesome. It helps when you know how to use the equipment. We've got a little malfunction here. Alright, this is not going well. What's going on? Okay, we've got our nuts chopped. They look beautiful. They smell wonderful. And now they are going to be added to the mix. It's getting really sticky in there. And our honey has run off a little bit. I need a little more honey left in this cup. Just going to give that a quick scrape. A little scraper. This is turning into a really nice dough, actually, much to my surprise. Alright, we've got that mixing. I love honey. I'm just going to let that stop for a minute, get rid of some of that noise. Now I'm going to hand chop some cranberries. I don't have the measurement on this, and I'm not sure we need to use that many. So I'm going to go like with half of this. We can only do a little bit at a time because they don't really fit in here very well. And I'm just going to give them a few chops, break them up a little bit, so we don't have big giant cranberry chunks in there. This is a lot easier than slicing them, which I have done before. Let's see what we got. A little more chopping. All right, I'm going to put those in, and we're going to see what our ratio of oats, nuts to cranberries is. And if it looks good, we're going to add the chocolate chips and maybe a little more egg white, and we're going to be good to go. Back with the fingers again. They're the best tool. All right, I'm going to give this a little mix. See what we got going on. I can already tell that we're going to need some more. We're going to need some more berries in there, so I'm going to start chopping those up. This is going to be a super tart type of cookie because, as you know, we haven't added any sugar to it. I think I actually might bump up the honey a little bit. I'm going to mix this up a little bit more, give it a quick taste, and see if maybe we need a little more honey. Try chopping these chocolate chips up as well. Only because everything else is in smaller pieces, and I really don't want to have big chunks of chocolate when everything else is, you know, a little more fun. Woo! That's kind of a lot. I'm not going to put all those in. I'm going to put the cook. All right. We've got a lot of mixing going on. Now I'm going to give it a quick taste. Wow. That tastes really good, but I am going to add just a touch more honey. And unfortunately, I got water in my honey dish, so now I need to get a new dish. Just a touch more. It tastes pretty good. I'm going to go for 15 seconds on this one. No, make it 18. No, 15. Don't want to overdo it. It's really nice, the combination of flavor that you get with these. When I roasted the nuts, I had put them on a piece of parchment paper. I think parchment paper is one of the best things that you can have. It doesn't add any extra fat, no calories, and it's just really an awesome thing to have in the kitchen. I use it all the time. Use it for cakes, cookies. And the really cool thing about using it for cookies on a baking sheet is that you can make a batch of cookies. You can lift up your entire piece of parchment paper and put it aside to cool, and then put a new piece down and bake another batch of cookies. So you don't have to wait for them to cool before you move them off the tray. That way you can speed up your cooking and baking process a little bit. Okay, this looks awesome. I don't think we're going to need to add any extra egg. I probably should though, just to make sure that it binds up very well. Ooh. So I've used about I've used a little more than a quarter cup, maybe 2 egg whites total. These are the liquid egg whites that I bought. I use a lot of egg whites, so I find it easier just to buy the package of egg whites that you buy at the supermarket. Saves a lot of time and you don't have to waste a lot of yolks. Alright, this is looking really sticky now. And I'm thinking that that's not really a good thing. So, I'm going to grind up a little more oats just to dry up this mixture a little bit. We don't want a big sticky mess. We want them to dry, we want them to bake and be nice and dry. We don't want sticky oat balls. Alright, give it a little spin. Dump a little bit of this in there. This time I'm going to do it a little bit at a time, just to make sure that I don't put too much in. Give that a little spin. Put some more light on here. A little bit more. These will make a really good morning snack, midday snack, afternoon snack. That big shot of protein is good for sustaining your energy. And supposedly it keeps you full too. Just don't get carried away. They're going to taste so good you're going to want to eat all of them. Just remember, nuts are high in calories. Alright, I think we're looking good here. Alright, we're going to take that out without making a big mess. Get this little thing out of here, this beater thing. And I'm going to start putting these into my muffin pan. Not really sure how long to bake them. Maybe 15 minutes. I think I'll go by how they smell. I get my trusty little scoop here. These things are pretty cool because it allows you to have uniform sizes when you're baking. I've got my muffin pan, and I'm going to use a little non-stick spray because I have no idea what's going to happen when I put these in here. I'm assuming that they would stick. Might do a test batch and do some just on a sheet as well. Let's see if one comes out any better than the other. Let's see, we have the scoop. Measure it out. They're still really sticky, but but they look kind of cute, don't they? Look at that. Oh, it smells great. So I'm going to put that in there and I'm going to squish it. Okay, so maybe the pan, maybe I don't need this pan. Maybe I can just do it on the parchment. But I think this is better because it gives me a better idea on the size. And plus this pan is really nice for baking. Okay. I'm just going to flatten them out a little bit in there. I've got my oven at 350, but I'm going to turn it down a little bit. I'm going to reduce the heat because I know that these can burn pretty quickly. So I'm going to turn it down to, let's say 300, and I'm going to put it on the middle rack instead of the top rack. I don't want them to overcook. I don't want them to burn. You could also make these with dates or raisins or any other kind of fruit. If you're going to use raisins, I would suggest rehydrating them first, just so that they're not super dry. Because the oven will dry them out as well. Okay, in we go, 300 degrees, and we're going to put it in the middle rack, which means I have to move the rack because it's still on the top, and the bottom one is on the bottom. So lower the rack a little bit here. In. Okay, let's see what we've got now. Much more fragrant. And let's see. Pop one out with a fork. Hopefully. They probably should cool before we take them out, but oh, that looks good. That looks good. That looks really good. I'm going to let that cool and see how it sets up. In the meantime, I'm going to pop this other tray in, but I'm going to put them on the top shelf, top rack. So let's see what happens with this batch. And I'm going to put them in for 15 minutes. And we'll see what happens. These look really cute. Looks like a cookie. Smells wonderful. It seems to be holding together very nicely. I'm going to let it cool all the way before I just check it. And I'm just going to get the rest of these out of the pan. I think I might try these with dates the next time. Some dates, almonds, honey, and you could even use it as a little dessert by topping it with maybe a little bit of cream cheese and a drizzle of honey. That might be yummy. good little party dessert. You could also make them in the paper baking cups so that they're not messy. But these came out really cute. I like the way they came out. And if they taste as good as they look, we're in business. Oops. There's always got to be one party pooper. Okay. We're going to let those cool, and then we'll be back. We'll go for the big taste test. And now that our granola cookies have cooled, it's time for our taste test. I'm getting the nut, getting the berry, not getting so much coconut. I think next time I'd increase the coconut and increase the berry content and maybe cook them at or bake them I should say, at a lower temperature for a longer period of time. That's how you make crunchy. That's how you can make them crunchy. I know I've seen granola recipes where you bake them for like 2 hours at 200 degrees. It seems like a long time, but if you want a crunchy granola snack, I guess that's what you gotta do. Just gotta suck it up and wait the 2 hours. You can get the recipe on our Facebook page. There'll be a link right below the YouTube video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.